Hello and welcome into episode 11 of SorareData Office Hours. For those of you who are only listening to this, you just missed Maxime is waving his United States rally towels here. That first one, I believe, was from Inter Miami. Then we have Miami Heat and then the Florida Panthers. We are back from our excursion to Florida where we took in games from all other sports that... I should have brought mine. Instead, I just put our football up that we bought to throw in the pool. Thank you to everybody for joining us. Somebody, let's see, who was the one who said it first? I believe David Alves was the first one. Sorare dropping news just when we get ready to stream. Chani notices where as well. I swear Sorare make these announcements only if the SorareData guys are streaming. And we thank them for that. And so the announcement that came yesterday, no, not yesterday, today, excuse me, like minutes ago, that you can finally take ETH only out of your manager names and we can all go back to being civilized with our regular Sorare names. I think it's awful, but Surface is very excited. But I get it. I get why everyone wants to do it. Mike Basson, I'm guessing Quinny is streaming because we're not supposed to say that. We're not supposed to tell Quinny that Mike is here. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. And, oh, no, Clément, a French guy waving a white flag. You don't need this type of stereotype, Maxine. But anyway, there were two big things I wanted to talk about today. One was market tags, where we are taking down the entire Sorare market. And then the other one was the collection score. I will say just before we started streaming, Maxime looked at me and he goes, "Hey, do you want to know your collection score?" And it was like, whoa, yes, I do. And we'll get into that in a little bit. I'm also decided I'm going to tell a story from our trip last week that I don't think will actually embarrass you, but it's going to be, it's about Maxime. That's all. And so, Maxime,
yeah,
welcome home, I guess. Welcome back.
Yeah, so very happy to be home. It was a great trip. I enjoyed. Thanks to everyone that I met during this trip. So in St. Louis, Dallas. So special shout out to Jimmer, Black, obviously, Dylan from St. Louis, obviously, Peachy also from St. Louis. Sorare Mexico in Dallas, the big germ who's here. Thanks a lot for setting us up in Dallas. That was a really cool moment. And yeah, Florida then with the SorareData team. That was pretty cool. And so without any transition, there is one transition because we released during the Florida trip market tags. And that's cool to be able to release stuff during a team building trip. But yeah, so hope your trip was better than non-season. Yeah, I mean, no contest on this one. I mean, obviously better. No, so market tags. So the idea behind market tags is introducing the ability to list dynamically a card. Let's say you want to do trading, or you want to say that you're willing to sell a card, but you don't want to be listing it like on Sorare because it takes too much time, or because you don't want to list it at a fixed price. So you just say, it's more about like giving an intention about the card. It's really like, or if I say that I'm willing to sell minus 15% the latest valuation, that's probably saying that you're willing to sell the card at all costs. And if you're trying to do like something at latest valuation, probably is like something that you say you're willing to sell it, but not at the but at a good price. And if you're trying to do like plus 5, 10, 15 or 20%, it's like, it's just saying, are you willing to sell that card a lot or just a little bit? And also like not for sale, It's pretty easy to say, no, I'm not selling this card, and that's it. Like, don't make me an offer, don't make me a trade offer, don't make me an offer on those. And obviously, that's just the beginning of what we wanted to do with market tags. The end game is obviously matchmaking, like trade matchmaking, obviously. If you're willing to buy, also, the next step is, what do you want to buy? So I have like some kind of watch list of what you want to buy and at what price. And then the final step is matchmaking, saying, okay, we found like 2 managers that are willing to sell Courtois or sell Benzema, for example, that you're willing to buy, but they're also interested in, I don't know, Jesper Karlsson that you are willing to sell currently. So there's probably a deal to be made at that point. So that's introducing those stuff like pretty like smoothly, starting with market tags and then introducing more and more trading tools, and be fun for price discovery also, like for cards who didn't sell for which didn't sell for quite some time, like having like an idea of where the market stands on those cards. That's going to be also something interesting. But yeah, pretty excited for this, and we see how people use it or don't, and adapt based on that.
We had another benefit to this, which we didn't even know about when all of this was happening, but Vita brought it up here. You don't lose 10 points from your collection by listing.
Yes. So actually, to make that clear, if you include the card in a trade, so that's something I want to talk, because we talked about it during the trip. So the 10 points is you held the card 90 days without including the card in an offer. So that means that if you proposed this card to someone and rejected it, and like someone you sent it to rejected the offer, you lose your 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's a way to list your cards without losing your 10 points, sure. But one side effect of this is you can actually make people lose those 10 points, because now, and I've seen a comment like about like the situation where the market is like currently, like it's going to be a bad market to trade in, and also like this 10 points. So what you can do is you contact someone on Discord and you say, oh, I have this card, I'm willing to trade it for, I don't know, a card that is worth less, and you say, if you had like 0.02 ETH to the offer, it's yours. And so you, so the other guy send the offer, obviously. You reject it, and you say, oh no, I'm not interested anymore. And that's 10 points gone. And so I don't like this, to be honest. I think that's that should be like only 10, only like for public listings, because now when you have to send an offer, you have to think about so many things, like is it in my SO5 lineup, is it in a live SO5 lineup, is it in a draft SO5 lineup, does this card have like the 10 points, also like am I losing 20 like is it a card with like I was the only owner, so that's 20 points that on my collection is going to have an effect like on other cards. I don't like that. I think that one thing that somehow is important is like simple trades, and also like understanding what's going to happen when you do a trade. Right now you have to think about so many things, and so I think like the collection score is something very interesting, and like the whole feature is like very cool, and I like what they're doing and what they're trying with the collection. But like on that specific aspect of like listed or transfer in the 90 days, probably it just has to be publicly listed, because if you go into private trades, that could have like effects, like side effects that are not very interesting to the game.
Do we know if the offer? So Sean and I talked about this yesterday, and I made the statement that every question that we had, like a lot of Sorare releases like this or announcements, lead to a lot of questions that are not answered in the release. But this one, I felt like every time we were like, oh, so if you do this, this happens, or what happens if you do this? And like every time we came up with something like that, it actually was answered in here. But now that it's been 24 hours since then, there have been more questions. Two of them are one you just brought up. Do we know that a private offer within the last 90 days counts as listed or transferred?
Oh yeah, I had confirmation from Sorare on that.
And then the other one was this max one owner, which people were confusing with first owner.
Yeah. So that's max one owner. If you loan the card and get it back, for example, or you rebuy a card that you owned at some point, and you don't get the 20 points.
The 20 points, okay. Because I think there was some confusion on that. So Mike was saying,
just never list or transfer your cards, easy. And I mean,
and the market doesn't go down when you do that. It's great.
Yeah. So and so that's like we've seen with list or play. I think what they wanted to do with list or play is stop the bleeding, right? And they kind of succeeded in doing that. But the second step would be like, like if you like, it's like I don't know, it's what's the right word in English? Sorry about that. But like the wound has to heal now, and like every Tuesday at 8 p.m. basically you rip off the band-aid, right? And you're seeing, is the wound still there or not? And yes, it is. And like during the week you're applying your band-aid and you feel like it's going better and better and better, but next Tuesday you rip off the band-aid, oh no, it's not going better. And so I mean, that's why I really don't, I rather don't like list or plays, because it's only stopping the bleeding, but it's not like changing the market dynamic, right? But also I think that that might be good to stop the bleeding somehow. But the market did not restart because of list or play. The market did not restart at all. But
Right.
I don't think list or play is going to do like anything else than just like applying a band-aid, a temporary band-aid, until like something happens. And I think like collection scores are in the right direction, like to actually push people to buy more cards to get a better bonus, etc. So I think you have like more incentives with like this update to actually buy more cards. But I think like a lot of people who will hate stacks, it's going to become a very, very serious issue. A very, very serious issue. I have like PSG cards, Bayern Munich cards from 2020. I'll probably get the 4% or the 5% on those cards. Of cards who are already at 10% bonus because like I played them during their whole career, and I held them during like I don't know, like 3 years. And that I mean, probably people don't realize it yet. Some people do, I think, but probably when they'll start playing those cards in the leaderboard, and when you see like 15% bonuses on some, you'll be like, wow, that's a lot, and I don't like that. And when you see like 5 cards from the same team with 15% bonus for rare cards, for example, you'll be like, maybe that's too much, and that's probably too much.
It's going to be like a 20% Zenit card too.
Yeah, and some cards they also they have decided.
I know Zarchi's all about the. He already has like a Minero stack, and those cards are already at like 13%. So it's just like. Josh XL made the comment that the market can't go down if there is no market, which is pretty much like, I feel like that was something that we talked about. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
That prices not going down, like everyone was excited because like values weren't dropping anymore, but it's like they're not stop. This drop is not stopping because they're going up, or because people are interested in these cards. It's just like they stopped the market. Mike was asking, so I believe rookie cards are special editions. We did hear that.
They are, yes. So
I do wonder, because there were some, they're not a lot of them, but there definitely are players who have like a rookie card year that some of their cards just don't have the rookie card emblem. And I wonder if those will count or not. I don't know. I also like this from Mike. So in short, we no longer own our game, or we own it so much there's too much responsibility.
No, I mean they're introducing so many rules right now. It's a bit like tough to follow, and and probably like we don't like know the full extent of like the side effects that these rules are going to like introduce. But on the card edition, the only card edition I'm not sure about, like I asked the question and I will update when I have the answer, but it's we don't know if like launch edition for the EPL cards are considered as special editions yet.
They are or are not?
I don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know, right?
I don't think so. Germ was saying it specifically said in the post that rookie cards aren't special, but I just controlled F'd and there's no rookie comment anywhere.
Yeah.
Like they never listed what the special ones were.
So today I asked because we are doing our own implementation of like the collection score right now until they actually release it, and so I talked to Sorare about it, and the only question was about EPL launch cards, but like rookie cards seem like they are special cards, and they should be. I mean, that's why you buy a rookie card. If a rookie card is not special, why bother and buy a rookie card, right?
I think Clement's saying it was erroneous. They removed it from the release. So that would... Misaki said Dan confirmed this today in Discord. Confirmed that rookie cards are not... See, this is... man. Yeah. We were so close to a perfect release.
Yeah, Jerm is right. If rookie cards aren't special, there aren't any special cards for most teams. Well, they stopped like printing special cards, and that's a bit of a shame. Like we didn't have like special editions for quite some time now.
I think
so let's see.
I think the biggest difference is that the special edition cards, I don't know if any player had more than like 10 in a season, and rookie cards are theoretically their entire mint for a season.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I wonder, like, I think it's kind of like linked to licensing deals, right? Because I think that like special edition cards are probably like owned by other right holders. Like I would think about like Panini, for example. And because Sorare is such in a middle ground, like between fantasy sports and collectibles, it has to be very difficult to like negotiate like rights for fantasy and collectibles, right? And I think that you probably want to do that club by club, by like for clubs that you really want like some collectible cards. Because if you ask like that's not the same deal, like asking licensing rights for a fantasy game and licensing rights for a collectible like game. I don't know how you would call that. I don't think action shots are special edition. Oh well, they might be like in terms of like are they special or not, but like I think like action shots are already included in the deal they have with the NBA. Like NBA probably provide like three pictures for every like player, and that's it. That's why they include them. But like for example, if you want to have like I don't know Rafinha or Lewandowski, like 2022 La Liga Champions edition, for example, if you want to have like them lifting the trophy, I think that's like another story.
Yeah, we're not going to get there, unfortunately. So I'm going to embarrass you. No, I don't think this is actually embarrassing at all, but I'm going to say it from the story because it has to do with the collection score, not the market tags. So we were in Miami for our SorareData week, sorry. And this collection game came out. And was it the collection game? Yeah. And there are certain times where Sorare announced something or changed something and you get a little critical about it. And I think you have a very unique view of Sorare because of what you've created. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes you can be critical of what they do or what they say, but there are a lot of people who are like that, and it's very, it's not selfish, but it's basically selfish. when other people are like, oh, they made this change and this affects me, or it's bad for me. Whereas I feel like when you get critical of something that they do, it comes from a place of like, you think you love this product and you think it could be like fantastic. And if something is maybe questionable, you're like, this is just not helping this become the greatest thing. So anyway, the collection thing comes out and Maxime gets all fired up to start building things to make it easier for people to understand their collection scores and to see what it is. And I'm not going to give away like what we're doing, but it was exciting to see them come out with something and you were like, let's cook. And you like got to work and I saw some of the designs and it's like really cool. And I just wanted to like tell everyone that like we can be critical about Sorare on certain things, but we do it because we love the product and we think it could be great. And we love building tools and talking about it and making all these features to make the game more fun or easier to play or better to understand and all of this stuff. And I had never seen this before in person because we don't see each other that much, but this came out and you were just like, you whipped open the laptop and you just like got to work. And yeah, Jerem is exactly right. It comes from like passion. And the collection stuff coming out right after the market tags came out, like there's some really cool stuff coming out soon. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I love this game more than probably a lot of things in my life, and that's a concern. But yeah, I mean, I was very excited about collections because I felt like we weren't doing much on collections, but probably because Sorare wasn't doing much on collections, and that was also like the time to like the right time for us to try and build stuff on collection. I feel like it's going in the right direction anyway. So I feel like that was a pretty exciting moment. But what you didn't say is that like for 20 minutes, we weren't even sure of what the announcement was. It took like, so what happened is I came out of my presidential suite and I went into the living room and the guys were like, I really thought it was a bad update to begin with because the guys had like a bad face. They were like, I said, are you guys going to a funeral or something? And they were like, oh yeah, no, go see the Medium post. And no one was telling me anything. Like they're just saying, go see the Medium post. I was like, okay, what's going on here? And for like 20 minutes, we weren't even sure of what we were discussing about. And like until we actually like saw people reacting and saw more posts and reading actually the post, we understood it. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's great that they actually give an incentive to collect. I think it's going to probably need some tweaks. I think the biggest risk on this thing is to actually introduce like SO5 bonuses for like that are very impactful. I mean, probably not a lot of people will get to the 5%, 4%, but like early adopters will easily get to 3%, and most of them probably to 4% on like some like very, very impactful cards like PSG cards, buy-in cards, etc. Like I know a lot of newcomers, early adopters that bought like shit ton of buy-in cards, PSG cards to start their gallery like in 2020, 2021. And I think that is going to frustrate more people because it kind of has like a pay to win mentality, like because like you incentivize people to build collections, but not for the purpose of collecting, right? For the purpose of playing SO5 and to like get more money from SO5, right? And so I think that's the main pain point of this, is that you give an incentive to collect that is being mixed up with SO5. And I'm sure many people don't like this. I've heard so many people before this update saying, oh, I don't want them to touch to SO5 in collection. Like the two should not be mixed, etc. And I think that it makes sense. It kind of makes sense. And so I know you have like an incentive to collect based on SO5 rentability and like making sure you have the best SO5 results. And probably that's a good way to start it, but that's not the end game. To me, like a collection, like being the best collector should give you access to like crazy experiences like we've seen with the Liverpool guys going to Anfield. And I think like that has to be the most amazing experience that Sorare introduced since the beginning, right? Like playing on Anfield because you collected a shit ton of Liverpool cards. I mean, that's amazing. And like dropping these kind of experiences to the people who have like the best Liverpool collections, the best PSG collections, the best Real Madrid collections, for example, that makes a lot of sense. And that's a great incentive to actually buy more cards and collect more cards. But like SO5 results based on like your collection score, I'm not sure about this yet. But I mean, that's a great incentive to collect cards. But you're doing it for the wrong motive, in my opinion.
So I think the way that I was looking at it is there was enough talk about whether these things were collectible, meaning all of the Sorare cards. And we knew that like not all of them are going to be. Nobody needs most of these cards. But collectability is also something you can't really force. Like people like things that are old, and that's because they become collectible because they're old, and so they're not that many existing. And while you can say the scarcity is limited in Sorare, not the limited scarcity, but there's not, the cards are theoretically scarce, and we know exactly how many the max could be every year. It's just not an old enough product for it to matter yet. And so you can make the argument like, yeah, these are going to be collectible in 20 years, but nobody wants to wait that long. So they had to come up with a reason to make collecting something now. Like,
yeah,
why do you have to collect now? And I appreciate if you're the top Liverpool collectors, you can go play in Anfield, or if you get a certain collection score, maybe you can get a jersey or all of this stuff. And I don't think any of that stuff is applicable enough to enough users where they would care. Meaning you theoretically want 10,000 people, 100,000 people competing for 20 spots at Anfield. And if you're not close, then you're not even going to think about collecting. But if you can use it for SO5, where you're going to be competing every game week and it can help you out and you can buy more cards because it helps the cards that you play. Now we're like, maybe I will buy another card because of that. And I think that's why you have to do it this way. Meaning, if you want collecting to be important now, the upside has to be worth it. And right now, XP is it.
Yeah. So, yeah, probably I would say. So I'm saying like I'm seeing like Jonathan saying also every card on the platform has some value now. So yeah, actually, like you could buy like rare cards that are worth nothing to boost your other cards that are like very important to your gallery. So that makes sense. But I think like collecting is for fans, right? And I feel like or for people like want to collect cards, right? And so my point is, I feel like someone that don't give a damn about like, I don't know, like some. So let's take like the Vanitsek example, right? So Vanitsek, crazy card. He scored 41 and 43 in the last 2 game weeks, and I'm very happy about that, to be honest. I had Black like during the whole St. Louis trip saying, "Hey, Vanitsek." I was like, things that I cannot say on this stream, but like, so if you're is that Karlsruhe yet? Yeah, Karlsruhe supporter, right? Or Karlsruhe fan, okay? So my main problem with Vanitsek today is that it's too expensive for a player that is like Marvin Vanitsek, like the like unknown, like he's basically known
nobody
by
knows this guy.
No one. Like no one knows this guy except if you're playing Sorare regularly. So if you want to collect Karlsruhe cards, you can't do that right now because you can't get Vanitsek, right? Like you won't pay $600 for Vanitsek if you're trying to collect Karlsruhe card, right? And so because Vanitsek is so overpowered right now, there's actually an incentive to buy other Karlsruhe cards and to significantly like, or let's not say significantly, but like you have now like an incentive to actually buy more Karlsruhe cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that
Absolutely.
doesn't make sense. To me, that doesn't make sense in the fact that like people that would buy Karlsruhe cards for collection purposes should be Karlsruhe fans, right? And they should not be people attracted like getting a 5% bonus for Vanisek, right? So I get where we are today, right? I get where we are today. Like less people coming into the game, people not spending money on the game, like market is not good. And I agree with that, and probably in that current market, that's the right thing to do. But to me, the end game is not like powering up your SO5 teams with collection. It probably shouldn't be that way because it messes up like the the like the main idea of like you should be able to collect cards of Karlsruhe for a very low like amount of money because they are a second division team that no one cares about.
But it's not really like I'm looking at this and thinking if I can boost my, which I don't even have a Vanizek rare, but like this one is 0.0062. Not everyone, like me buying that card doesn't change the market for everyone. It's pretty much like the only people who are interested in these cards are existing Marvin Vanizek card owners. Like nobody's buying these if they don't have him. And so I don't feel like it has as many market.
Well, it does. If
effects
every
as we think.
if every Vanitsek owner try to buy this card tomorrow, yeah, it does.
Right, but I don't think everyone's trying to. And if 5 of them are, like I don't think that's actually as bad
Oh
as
no. But I mean, once people will see how important the 5% bonus, the collection bonus is, because 5% is a lot, especially in like very competitive divisions, they'll start buying cards because they need that 5%.
Yeah, I think in reality, buying enough cards to get to 5% is actually detrimental. Meaning, I think you will end up paying way more than the benefit of the 5%.
Well, at least getting to 4%, right, or 3%. Like for let's say you have a limited Vanitech, right? You'll probably buy the any kind of like Karlsruhe a limited cards that you will buy that you will see on the primary market. You will buy them. And I mean,
Well, what if, just as Mickey
I'm not
Fu
saying
was saying
that's
here, maybe you become a fan of them?
sure. No, so no one becomes well. So no, I won't say no one becomes fans of Karlsruhe because of Sorare. I'm not going to say that. I bought a Ghent jersey
Yeah.
because they like crushed Club Brugge 6-1, and my first super rare card was probably one of my first super rare cards was Vadis Odija. And so yeah, I can't say I became a fan of Ghent, but
Do you
I
think Sean
bought
is
some
doing
merch.
this at an Inter Miami game when Carlos Hill scores without
But
Sorare?
I agree, but I agree that some people will fall in love with other clubs because of Sorare. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying that like collecting cards just because you want an SO5 bonus is probably not the end game. I mean, to me, this bonus will probably disappear at some point because, I mean, like, why would you buy a Karlsruhe card today if you're like living in America? You don't even get like second Bundesliga games. You don't even get like Karlsruhe games. Okay, that gives like more value to some cards that don't have like much value today. And I mean, in this current situation, I'm fine with that. But I'm really looking forward to see the reactions when the collection bonuses are live and see how it affects SO5 scores. Because to me, the real concern is here is like, I'm not sure people will very much appreciate that collection score once it goes live, because to me, it's like a whale feature. It's good for whales, probably bad for like small accounts.
So I said to Sean yesterday that I like, do you ever look at the XP on cards in lineups ahead of you?
Well, yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not ahead of me, but like lineups that can beat me. By the way, you have a toggle now on leaderboards on the web. You can enable can beat me lineups, and you see who's behind you and can beat you, and so you can see like pretty easily who can challenge you.
It's not going to
Like,
be that helpful
yeah,
right now, but I'm going to show everyone.
right now it's not going to be helpful, but you can.
But if you just go to SO5 and then leaderboards, we have this can beat me. And so, yeah, all of the lineups that theoretically can get ahead of you in whatever competition you're in. I think I have an all-star rare. I mean, this is going to be everybody at this point.
Yeah. And why I did that was because that was the funny story of like the Miami trip. I was like second in Challenger Rare Pro. And the only scenario where I would get kicked out of the podium was an Otavio 100. And he was on 75 at halftime, and he was on 100 like at like 70 minutes into the game. And I went berserk because like because I did that can beat me feature at that point. I was like, oh, okay, only 5 lineups can beat me, and they need an Otavio 100, and I was like, not happy when that happened. But yeah, in those circumstances, like you look at what's going on with power, etc., and like this guy had Otavio as a captain, and he had like a 1.3 x card, so that means that it's fully level up and has the 10%. And so yeah, if I get beaten by someone that has like a 15% bonus, well, I probably say I need to buy more collectibles so I can actually like beat this guy the next time around. And also, I mean, like you're going to buy cards that are going to sit in your collection for like no purposes. And to me,
yes.
that's
Do you know how many cards are currently in my collection that have no purpose though?
Yeah. No, me too. But the thing is, you're going to buy them for the exact purpose of not playing them, but just sit here. And you're and you can say, oh, I'm collecting them, but most of the time you're not collecting them. You're just like buying them for that bonus, right? And so
you're basically buying XP.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, that's
sorry.
Yeah, to me that's like when people like about a club shop, like they were like, I don't want like coins to actually affect gameplay whatsoever. And to me, like the collection score like affects gameplay. And again, I'm not saying that's bad today in the current market conditions, but yeah, I feel like it's a pay to win feature, and that's not bad in our current market conditions. But we'll see about that in like 3 months.
Yeah. David Alves said kind of what I was feeling originally, that it feels like Top Shot, that you buy things to achieve things. Like the biggest reason I never got into Top Shot was basically the way that you progressed in Top Shot was like, buy these certain things and get this. And I didn't like the idea of the only way to be successful is just buy. And theoretically, it's like, buy and sell and all this stuff, but like you don't.
Yeah, but I mean, really the difference with Top Shop is only a collectible games, right? Okay, it's not even a game, but it's like a collectible product, right? So you buy stuff to actually collect, and if you collect 10 cards, for example, or 10 moments, you will get another one because you're a good collector, right? And that's the tricky thing about Sorare, is like you're mixing fantasy and collectibles, and like when you mix them, well, you can have like side effects. And I mean, right now I'm like, I like what they're doing, to be honest, except some details that I would have probably done differently. But like, I mean, that's it looks like they got into a rhythm also, like of like get like not developing, but at least conceiving new features, announcing them, developing them, and that's pretty good. So I was groggy and jet lagged yesterday, and but like when Nicolas' tweet was very interesting about like I think he's saying what they're doing right now, and he's saying we're going to be 10x in like like soon. So that's pretty exciting, and I think like it's that's also one of the most important things to take away from this is that they're moving faster than expected
Yeah.
on stuff. I was definitely not expected a collection score. Definitely not expecting a collection score like in May, and so that's a great thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, what do I wanted to say about that also? Yeah, everyone has asked me, oh, but you do own like a very good non-collection, right? I was like, no,
Nope.
I do not. You know why? Because these players are not good SO5 players. So I do not collect them because my money is limited and I don't want to spend money on bad cards. And I have like, I've seen my collections because I'm developing this right now. And I have like, I have like a very useless like Spartak Moscow collection with like players that don't play together anymore. Like I have
Mhm.
Ponce, Larsson, Maximenko, Ayrton. But and that's going to be fun to have like bonuses from players that you bought like a long time ago. Oh, but this guy is powering up this guy because they played together at some point. So that's pretty fun, I guess. And you're going to rediscover your gallery, and that's also a fun way also to kick back excitement and like also like involvement into the game.
I thought it was one of the best things they've done in a really long time about making the game fun,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
making
exactly.
something about the platform fun. Maybe not necessarily the game. I wanted to ask you to address this Chani question. There was, yeah, there's a question. He said being able to buy like crap players to help your good players is basically the same as being able to buy the best players in the game. He said no one complains about others buying power, which is actually not true. People love to complain about people with money spending their money on JPEGs.
Yeah,
But then why should collectors be any different? Which I see that point of view that like if you're somebody who can like go buy Kimmich, not everybody can go buy Kimmich.
yeah. Sorry, Andrew. I'm still tired and I'm still jet lagged. I didn't understand the question, to be honest.
So it's basically the idea that you can already people who have bigger gallery budgets can already buy the best players, and that's
Yeah.
not like prohibited in the game. So what is the difference of allowing them to buy these other cards to boost their best cards? They're just spending more money,
Oh
just
no,
different.
no. It's because they have a direct impact in SO5 that is like, let's
But so
say
is just
so
buying better
so
players.
so
Like,
so let's say I'm like I don't have any money. I'm spending like only money that I have on like players that I trust, and they're probably like underpriced, and so I'm buying them for that purpose. And I think I'm going to do well in SO5, right? So I'm going to do like next game week. I'm going to do like 400 points with that lineup without power, right? The same person that is a big whale. Voilà. Here's my impression of a whale, and he's going to fill the lineup of great players that he paid for a lot of money, right? And he's going to score 400 points without power, right? So the version of me that has no money is going to get like 420 points or something, and the whale version of me is going to do 440 or 450 because he bought like a collection of like useless cards. Like he bought that sub guy from Karlsruhe because that's going to get like him to the 5% of Vanitsek, right? And so that's the difference, right? It's like, okay, if you like what was good with SO5 in the current state, it's like you get scores and nothing else matters, right? Like obviously XP matters a bit, but like you're increasing the gap that XP is actually like uh, like the effect of XP on SO5.
Yeah.
And that's in favor of like large galleries and large collections, right? And if someone wants to fill the lineup with limited money, they're probably not going to buy other cards to make a collection of cards. So to me, that's the main issue with this. And I guess they're fine with that, and they probably are right in a certain extent because of current market conditions. But to me, it's not sustainable on the long run.
I've actually never thought of it that way, that you're basically moving it away from just how the player performs in a game.
Yeah.
Like you're actually two people. I mean, this is still the case that like two people could have the same player in the same scarcity and they score differently because of XP, but we're actually now moving that gap even more.
Yeah. So that's definitely a pay to win like feature. I mean, it is what it is, and if you have to restart like your and what I say about like it's not the end game and it's probably not going to stay forever. The problem is if you stop this at some point, some people will have like a shit ton of useless cards in their gallery because they collected, but they collected for the wrong reasons, right? They collected because it gave an SO5 bonus that you need to have to actually perform in SO5 correctly. And so, yeah, I mean, to me, that's forcing people to collect, and that's not. And again, it's probably not a bad thing, but let's wait until the thing is actually live to actually see the people's reaction, because it's always like, to be honest, it's always like that. Like you can speculate on a feature, you can speculate on the announcement, etc., but nothing beats implementation and seeing it live in action. And like they announced, like when they announced like the new scoring matrix, like back in July 2020.
Yeah.
At first, everyone was like, "Oh, it looks good," etc. And when they played their first game week with the matrix, they were like, "Oh no, it's not good at all." And they did a second version of it, right? And you had to wait until you saw it live to actually see if it was better or worse. And so, I mean, everything that we do here is just speculation and like guessing what it's going to look like and what are going to be the effects. But also, I hope that helps, that we help everyone like thinking about it a bit differently and also seeing things differently. And we may be totally wrong. I have been wrong many times before. Less than PSU fans too, but I mean, that's pretty easy to do. But yeah, I mean, we do not see in the future.
Germ was saying instead of burning, now we can just collect dust to trigger our bonuses. Chestnut checkers. Johanneton and a few others are saying this is kind of like FIFA Foot Ultimate Team, just about collecting and all that stuff. I can't speak of that at all.
But
if Josh XL says it is, then I believe him.
Yeah, no. But why do they collect cards, right? They collect cards because it's not very difficult to do it on Foot, right? Like Foot, the most expensive cards are the cards that are overpowered in the game, and like owning Vanitsek sub or the whole team of Vanitsek except Vanitsek does not change anything about your ultimate team. I mean, I played ultimate team like a few years ago, so maybe that changed, but I don't think it has. But like, it doesn't affect your performances in the game, but it's fun to collect, right? I mean, I'm not contesting that, but like,
Josh also was wondering if this could lead to DNP rewards, because they actually have value now if you have other players on the. No. Weren't we supposed to get those? What happened?
No. So, well, you buy it you buy it from Sorare, and that's very clever from their part, because from their side, because basically they're saying to secondary market sellers, "Hey, we got more collection points, right? So buy it from us directly." So, I mean, also that's that's boosting auction revenue. But in all fairness, when Sorare wins more money, the secondary market also wins more money, because it sets prices
It's
and people are like very interested in seeing what were the last auction prices. And so I don't think that's bad, but it introduces like a fair like an unfair advantage for Sorare when they sell cards. But I mean, I'm definitely fine with that.
Well, we just have to point out all the people who really like to focus on Sorare. Stability wasn't the word I was looking for. Sustainability. Thank you. Like, oh, Sorare makes money, then we're fine. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, no, that's not a problem. But I have to say, I now regret not collecting non-card. And not because it was going to get. I kind of knew all along that it was bad not collecting cards, right? But I was like, who cares about collecting cards on Sorare, right? And I did not collect non-card, and probably for the better, because I have already a ton of cards sitting in my gallery for no single reason except I've won them and I didn't sell them at the right time. And I'm like, oh no, this card is not good right now, I'm not selling it, and I do not sell it when it's the good time anyway. So, but
yeah, because you want to play
it kind of gets me into the mood of collecting, but not because of SO5 reasons, but definitely because of what happened at Anfield. I mean, I'm like, seriously? So this guy, like Andrew Bag, this guy who's doing podcast and saying like so many like he has so many wrong takes. Believe me, guys, all his takes are. Don't listen to Black if you want to do well on Sorare. But anyway, you have this guy that is playing on Anfield because he has like Liverpool cards, really, and he got to see like 4 Premier League games no, 3 Premier League games and an Europa Conference League semi-final in like just 3 or 4 days. I mean, sign me up.
I'm in. I don't even know who I would collect in order to get an experience like that. I don't know. I think there's a legitimate outcome where once we start playing with collection bonus XPs and they're just like, you know what, let's just do Sorare coins instead. And I don't think anybody's going to be that pissed, except the people who are really benefiting from it. It just seems a weird thing because, like, I know what I said before, that they had to make it important enough to make people think about buying cards, and that's getting more XP on cards. But I think if they had just said, hey, we have this collection game, you get a score, you get a certain number of coins every week based on what your gallery has, and you just accumulate coins, I think we would have all been like, all right, cool. Yeah, that sounds fun. Well, I'll think of that.
Yeah. No,
and that would have been enough.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, like, I'm fine with like getting more coins for it, because it can like guide you to different type of rewards, right? It can guide you to do XP boots, but you have to make that decision of like actually spending your coins on that. And so I'm fine with that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd probably be in the mood also for collecting cards if they only introduced like SO5 coins or like coins, Sorare coins. So
yeah.
But yeah, again,
I do think there's a kind of an interesting dynamic that could be created where, like, we all have worthless cards. I know they're not but they're basically worthless. We all have them. But there is kind of this dynamic now of like, wait a minute, your worthless card is not actually worthless to me, but my worthless card and is worth. Let's just trade our worthless cards, and now they're, even if it's just for coins, it's like, oh, okay, let's do that.
So no, but let's see. So you get 10 points for a card that is like a card, right? You definitely are not going to get 20 points if you buy it from someone else. So the max one owner stuff. You have to wait 90 days to actually get 10 more points, so to get to 20 points. and you're probably not going to get the other bonuses because
Right.
they're going
Yeah,
to
it's
be
20
pretty
points. That's
expensive
it.
to buy. So 20 if you buy from the secondary market and 40 if you buy it from Sorare, right? I mean,
Or win it.
is it worth really something on the secondary market, like 20 points? I'm not sure. Like 20 points, that's 750 to get to 5%. So that's 750. That's 37 cards, and you can't get to that
You can't even
because
get there.
like there are probably like 40 or not 40. Like, oh, let me see.
It's less, right?
Let me see. So, for example, PhD 2020, 31 rare cards.
Oh.
Bruges 2019, 32 cards. Seattle Sounders 2020, 19 cards. Like the most I'm seeing right now is Ghent 2019, 38 cards. And probably on like South American clubs, I don't have much more. No, you see, like River Place 2021's 29 cards. So like you won't get to 5% if you buy all the cards of your collection from someone else. You have to buy at least 3 or 4 from Sorare directly. And so that means that if you want to buy like if you have like if you have 0 cards of a collection right now that is not minted anymore by Sorare, you can't get to 5%.
I feel like this is similar to like you're building lineups and you're like, that lineup can't win first, so don't do it. Like getting 2% is better than getting nothing.
Sure.
So like if you have
2%
just
is like,
five or six, you buy 5 more, that gets you to 2%. Like I think that's
so
if
2%
you
is
are
100
able
points.
to
Yeah.
take the cards you don't want and turn them into cards you don't want, but can help your collection score, I think people would do that.
So yeah, so the problem is it's not that easy to get to 100 points, right? Because if you have like a collection of like for current collections, that's pretty easy because you buy all the subs, right? Because they have no value, right? Because you can play them. But
Yeah,
if
but I'm
it's
like
an old connection, you don't like you can have like for example a PSG 2019 or 2020 collection that is made of players that are all playing and that are smashing in their clubs, right? So that's very difficult to get to like 5% of all old cards. But that's pretty like let's not say easy, but just because Sorare are selling those cards, it's way simpler, more simple to actually like get to that 5%. So current season cards are way more valuable than other cards.
And where do you get those cards?
I don't know. No, I mean, yeah, so that's what they did. It's like, here, buy cards from us now because that's where you get your value from.
Yeah, I still think enough people will do it for the 2% that it's something.
Probably.
And
Right,
and theoretically,
yeah.
like my guess also is that, and maybe this is not a situation that happens enough, but I'm like thinking about my own, like my Carlos Heel card. I won that card. And so it's in my collection. I've never listed it. I'm the max 1 owner. And so like that's already at, what is that, 40 points? And so I only need like 3 or 4 more cards to get to 100 collection points. Is that what we call them? To get the 2%. And like, that seems, maybe that's worth it. I don't know.
Yeah. And so Clément is saying like, I bought about 10 cards from auction to secure the threshold of 2, 3, 4% for several collections. That's fair, and you probably should do that if you have the money to, but that means that you need to have the money to first. Yeah. So that's why I say it's a pay to win feature. But also like that means that like it's also a subtle way to actually make sure people who spent money on 2022 cards or before are spending money on 2023 cards. Because the thing is, I'm playing on the house right now. I don't buy cards anymore, or like last card I bought was like the super rare goalkeeper because they forced me to. But uh no, but I mean, I'm not putting money in. So well, I did for the Kvara card, but I'm putting that like it was like a special card. But I mean, I did not put money in except like for the Gvara card, and I did not put money in like for, I don't know, 3 years. And that's not how you get to a sustainable model, right? You can't have players that are winning at your game if they're not at least incentivized to actually buy more cards from you, right? And so that's a subtle way to like make sure people are buying current season cards.
Yeah, it is kind of weird though. So Ben said, do you feel like more people will be staying with 2022 cards instead of moving to next seasons because of the collection scores? Because like if you are currently buying, like Clement's buying a bunch of 2022 cards, he has no incentive to buy the 2023 versions because he's building a collection for 2022. So like what does happen next year? Like people have their collections already.
Yeah.
You just
So I
start
mean,
new ones?
no, I mean, it all depends. If you have a 2022 the collection that is pretty like large, you should probably stick to 2022 cards. But if you have like one card of 2022, you probably should at least try to trade it to for a 2023 card, for example, so you can actually start a collection where you can buy cards from Sorare, right? And you can also hope for rewards that help you actually like power up that card. So we're gonna see way more trades like for cards, and we didn't talk about it, and that's why I don't think I'm let's say I'm not sure I think it's a good feature because it like enabling people to actually like stop people from sending like deals without with cards only. I think that's a good feature, but I don't think I will enable it just because there is like 1% of trades that I've accepted in my Sorare career that were very good. We talked about like in Miami about like the Aller Immobile trade. I was like, okay, sure, and you put some
Yeah.
ETH on that. I'm down. And so I sold Immobile for Aller and 0.03 ETH. And so if I enable this feature, I will never get. I would have never gotten that trade, and it was very good, right?
Right.
And so I'm not willing to give up on that 1% of trades that I've accepted just to like remove all trades. So yeah, but I think it's a good feature. I feel like there's no like, but that's going to be way more difficult to trade in that market with people like just saying I want ETH. Like,
Yeah.
good luck. And probably, well, I would say I would probably have not done that until I've actually introduced like a chat on the platform.
Relying on
That's
Discord
just
is so annoying.
no, like just like that's something I want to do on SorareData, to be honest. That's something I said to Clément the other day. I want like to be able to like to go along with market tags. I want to be able to say, I'm interested in that card. You didn't put a tag on it, but I would be interested to know what would be your price, right? And that's also what's missing on Sorare. It's like I want to get this card. You disabled like trades or whatever or ETH, but I don't want to send offers that are like meaningless to you and stuff like that. But I'm interested. It's like when a club wants to trade a player, wants to buy a player, they ask first. They don't make an offer. They say, okay, are you interested in selling that card?
Yeah.
What's the price range? And you negotiate based on that. And I feel like this is very critical, like if you want to have like an effective market, that you actually have those options available. So Discord has supported Sorare for so long right now, but hey, let's be fair, it's not an enjoyable experience to trade on Discord. You can like talk with people that once someone added me on Facebook, Instagram, and DM'd me on Twitter for a card. And he was like, yeah, I sent you a very fair offer. Why don't you accept it? I was like, leave me alone, right? I mean, don't do that. And so, yeah, it needs to be done on the platform. And yeah, I guess if you're trading actively, it's going to be a pain for quite some time.
The last thing I wanted to touch on, and somebody brought it up early. Actually, I don't know if they brought it up in this chat. I heard it earlier today, that the MLS players, so like the big head cards, don't have club badges on them. Do you think those
But they
will
have
count?
like well, I just looked at my Seattle Sounders collection for 2019, so they have 2020. So you have that collection. We have the information. So they have like a tag that is said it's a Seattle Sounders card.
Okay.
But they didn't have like licensing rights to actually
Yeah, use the
like
logo.
put the logo on. But we know. So you'll have that. I'm seeing my. It's crazy because the 5 players still play for Seattle. It's Stefan Frey, Nicolas Lodero, Joao Paulo, Christian Roldan, and Jordan Morris, and that's a pretty nice stack.
That is a nice stack. I will also say some of the designs I saw for the collection stuff on SorareData. I remember one of the ones you were like showing it, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool." And you're like, "Yeah," and then here's like the cost if you want the whole team, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, it's cool.
Yeah, and also I want to say it's going to be the first page that is going to be in, and we can reveal that right now, in a dark mode.
Ooh.
Yep. And so we decided that now every new feature that be coming in will be in dark mode. Well, we're following the Sorare's path, and we'll be introducing a dark mode only for new features from now.
I get an absurd number of questions about dark mode.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
I don't.
We use the product too. I use it at night. I know sometimes it's just too bright. I get it. We are going to do a dark mode. No worries about that. It's just going to happen progressively.
See, we listen. We know. Like you said, we use it too all the time. All right. Thank you to everybody for joining us. That was actually much more about collecting than I thought, but I feel like there was a lot to talk about. So thank you everybody for joining us. If you have not hit the like button on the video, if you could please do that and subscribe to the channel. That's always really helpful. Get those rally towels out. There we go. Some reason Inter Miami handing out green towels for the game. We'll see. I was the only one not swinging the Miami Heat one at that game, and then the Florida Panthers, we didn't have much to swing about, so that was fun. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with Andy for Sorare Andrews, probably just to find out how tired he is after this Sorare on tour extravaganza he went on. And then I'll be back Friday as well for Off Topic. And then we'll be back next week for another office hour. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week.